So, I saw a Vox video, and it was by an 11-year-old. Or, okay, according to Vox, it was written by an 11-year-old. Now, I'm not going to go, just kidding, I am, because Vox put her name in, so, it's public information now. But, so they're saying she wrote it. I'm gonna press X to doubt. I'm gonna say her mother wrote it, or she's so brainwashed that she actually believes that she can die from the police. So the last time I checked, this is Vox's latest video, so you can go see the video in entirety over there if you want me not to, be critiquing it and you just enjoy left-wing politics. So, into the video. So the video starts with saying, "My skin is not a threat." Yes, okay, who? My skin's not a threat? Well, what race are you? She's black, by the way. But who's saying your skin's a threat? Are you constructing a straw man? In other words, completely, making an argument that nobody else made and then, placing it down and making an entire video about it? I think she is. Then she says, "It's funny how the world has different time zones." How's that funny? That just kind of seems boring. I mean, we all know why this happens, right? Well, since she's a fifth grader, I better explain. So the sun we rotate the Earth, causing there to be light and day. So to adjust for this, humans have now created a system where if it's 1 a.m. Here, it wouldn't be 1 a.m. in, say, France, but it would correlate to, say, so 4 a.m. for France is 4 a.m. for us, except at different times. Understand? Got it. So then she continues with how it can be Saturday on this side of the world and Friday on somewhere else. Okay? Then she says, somehow the United States of America is stuck in 1920. Let's see, what was in 1920 that isn't in today? Segregation. Discrimination. I'm not saying there isn't discrimination, but legal discrimination. The civil rights movement. What else is in there? Oh yeah, cell phones and microphones. Kind of like you're using what to record. But idiot, that's just a generalization of, well, how our society's shaping up and how it's racist or something like that. Yeah. Okay, give me one legal right that black people don't have that white people have, because you can't control people's actions. You just can't. Well, they might be illegal and they should be punished for that. You can't control them right as they're doing it unless you have, say, a police officer or someone who specializes in, say, I don't know, stopping a crime from happening. Maybe then you can actually stop the crime right where it's taking place. And only then. But what if someone has an evil gun? Well, I mean, that could also stop it, too. So, hey, buy a gun. Don't get committed crimes on. Then she says that was 100 years ago. And yes, we've advanced so much. We now have gone to a different, we've gone to our own moon. We have invented ways to harness radiation to destroy cities. We have harnessed the power of nuclear fission. We've also harnessed the power of the sun. We've made black holes, things that can destroy us, yet we control them. We've made stars. And yes, I'm considering the German tests about high energy plasma. But those are basically the same thing as stars. We've made stars, as I said. We have made missiles that are so precise that they can hit within a couple feet of you from the other side of the world. I think we've changed our society a little. Then she says, "Well, we're still fighting for our lives. I just displayed all things that are new that weren't in the 100 years ago. But let's look at this from a completely mathematical standpoint. Ready? So, the amount of black people who died in 2018, unarmed black people who died by the cops in 2018 were 8. How many arrests do you think they are? Okay, guess how many black people were arrested? According to the FBI, the actual FBI, black or African American arrests were at 2,221,697 arrests. Got it? Let's go take out our calculators. Okay, so here's what you're gonna go do if you want to go do this alone. Go to the FBI table 43. go to the FBI table 43. Then go type in 8 divided by the number of black or African American, which in 2019 was around 2.2 million. And then type in 2.2 million divided by 8. And you'll get something like 0.00003600008% chance of you dying from a cop. You have less than 1% chance of dying of a police officer. Okay, now that that's over, they then say they want us to fit in place. You don't fit in place. Well, yes, someone's probably said that. But as long as they currently don't make laws, guess what? It doesn't matter. Oh, then she goes to further she then goes to generalize people. So she says, "We, why are they scared of us?" So when you say us, I'm assuming you're talking about black people. You're all generalizing them, right? Because all black people have the same culture, right? Jamaicans, South Africans, North Africans, East Africans, Central Africans. They all have the same culture and are definitely not different. So, let's see what else is let's see what else is going to happen. Oh, and by them, I assume you're generalizing all white people. So that's assuming all white people have the same culture. But we don't. We don't. We don't. Okay, think of this. An American person and an Eastern European person walk into the same restaurant. They should order similar types of food. And instead, they order two completely different types. Correct? Correct, yes, because we have two different cultures. I mean, I guess you can kind of generalize people within like a 10 square mile radius if something about that area is overwhelmingly true in other areas like that. But that's also a slippery slope. Because, well, hey, what's something an example of racism? Oh yeah, generalizing all people from because of race. She continues by saying, "I know for a fact they love our culture." Again, who's they? Please clarify, that way I can debunk your argument easier instead of trying to go into the mind of a Black Lives Matter, because if I have to do it one more time, I'm going to have to go do it one more time, unfortunately. Um, but I know they love our culture. What is your culture? You have to explain what your culture is. Because, well, just because you invent something doesn't mean it's your culture to invent. That's like saying, okay, so white people invented some medicine, meaning all white people's culture is to be doctors. By that logic, that's anybody who's a doctor and isn't white, or someone who's practicing a technique who is learned by or who is taught by a white person and isn't white is now stealing our culture, which they're not. Then she goes, "They love to steal our braids." Ooh, big no on that. Like, seriously, it's been disproven time and time again that black people didn't or black people didn't invent braids. Braids have existed basically since the existence of long hair. Actually, just think of someone. So you're thinking braids, braids, braids. Yes. Okay. So shoot. Um, let's just go reiterate because I accidentally paused myself. Okay, so Royal Women in Japan, what they wear? Braids. How do we know this? Pictures and drawings and paintings. Now, what Google says is 5000 BC, but I'm going to press X to doubt because literally anyone can go like this, right? Take any piece of hair, doesn't matter if you have long or short hair, take it, take another piece, take a third piece, intertwine them separately. You're telling me the first person who did that was a black person in 5,000, or wait, no, 300, 3,200 BC. Are you telling me the first person who did that was someone who was definitely black in 3,200 BC? Or somewhere around there? Yeah, that's too general for you to actually know. And what evidence do you have besides, oh, most black people wear braids? Exactly, the video shows no evidence of that. So then she says, they steal the way we talk. Wait, what? How do we. You're speaking English right now. White people invented that. You're stealing the way we talk. And in fact, you're speaking it very poorly because you're not properly enunciating. Okay, well, I'm just getting in the mind of a Black Lives Matter person, but you know, we're stealing the way she speaks. Yeah, but you're speaking English, which was invented by a white dude. No matter what you spin on it, you're saying, I'm just getting mad and angry and starting to just go insane, which is normal. Then they say, well, that one white and that one bad white cop. What are you saying? Black people can't be bad? That's kind of, well, that's kind of racist against, well, all white people, saying black people can't be bad, but white people can. And so they say one bad cop and one innocent man. Yes, true, but also give me one situation where the man was completely innocent. Exactly, you can't. Oh, also, how come you get to generalize the entire police based off of one or two or three bad cops? Well, we don't get to generalize the entire black population based off one or two or three bad thugs. Sounds kind of hypocritical. No, you can't do that. But hey, go ahead and do the exact same thing except to someone else. And again, judge people off the individual. I'm just really mad, but while controlling myself. How nice. So, in conclusion, this is not the conclusion. But what I really hate about is hey, let's go scare the children into thinking they're going to die if they put their hands in their pockets, or they're gonna die if they see a white cop and they blink at him. No, that's just scaring them into whatever ideology you want. So then she said, when I was younger, teacher used to ask kids what they wanted to be grow up. Some kids said famous. Yeah, guess what she changed her answer to? Alive. So far, you're doing a pretty good job of that. She then says, how am I going to not look suspicious if if I if I if I'm doing nothing?
Okay, so
Don't point
after
a gun
that,
at the cops.
idiot.
She says, why am I suspicious when I'm sleeping in my own house in my own bed? There's obviously a Breonna Taylor reference, and most people don't sleep in the hallway with a gun pointed at the police, or with a gun, I should just say. So yeah. Then the narrator says, an 11-year-old why am I suspicious? From 1 to 3, I thought I was the cutest thing. First of all, completely irrelevant. Second of all, what is 1 to 3? What is making you cute be not suspicious? I mean, haven't you ever heard of those people who, drug rich people's drinks and then rob them blind? Haven't you ever heard of that? Oh, no, you haven't? Well, it's an actual thing. So, guess, uh, you all, you still have something to be. Don't trust anyone. Like, never trust anybody. You know why? Because people are awful. And she says, am I scary if I'm wearing a black hoodie? A reference to Trayvon Martin, who wasn't killed by a cop. And she says, am I scary if I wear a backpack? I mean, I'd consider it an odd occurrence. But, I'm not thinking you're scary. I'm just thinking, that's odd. Because, you don't see many, say, regular adults wearing backpacks. Or if you do, they're usually hiking, or they'll have a ton of luggage, or they'll be biking, or you just don't see a lot of adults just wearing a backpack for no reason. But this person is 11, so I wouldn't think twice if, say, an 11-year-old was wearing a backpack. Then she says, am I scary if I do nothing? I mean, no. Then she says, am I scary? Is my dad scary? And I'm like, no, you're not scary just because you're a black person. But your aunt is legitimately scary. No, seriously. I know her personally. She's crazy. She's insane. So then she says, we are not scary.
Wow, that's informative. And then she starts listing off names like, say, Breonna Taylor and Ahmaud Arbery and other ones that I'll tell you after this jump cut. Okay, let's start. Ahmaud Arbery charged someone with a gun. Oh, also that story about him walking in his neighborhood. He was farther away from home than the kid from Kenosha. Oh, also, update about this situation. His lawyer is saying no, he didn't cross state lines. So, hey, let's see if he actually did. Breonna Taylor, I already talked about that one. Gun in hallway. George Floyd, he overdosed on methamphetamine and fentanyl. Or at least the coroner report is saying. Then she says Tamir Rice. Tamir Rice was carrying a replica of a gun. So you do the math on that one. Dontre struggled and probably reached for the cop's gun, which is why he was shot. And according to the Department of Justice, federal authorities conducted a comprehensive and independent review of the evidence and collected to the related death of Hamilton, who was shot during a struggle with Manny. In other words, the cop who shot him. Michael Brown. Michael Brown was a thug. I can get into that really right now. He had numerous assault robberies, including the one you saw on record. Also, he reached for the cop's gun. Then Eric Garner. I'm just bringing up all the ones they did. Eric Garner, I think, was caught shoplifting. I don't know, but I think he was caught shoplifting, and then the police officer went into a chokehold and killed him, which was prohibited. So, yes, probably murder. Oh, it wasn't shoplifting. It was apparently assault. So yeah. So the police try to arrest him, and he starts resisting. That is resisting arrest. It is illegal. He then grabs him around the neck and tries to pull him to the ground. He still tries to stand up, and the cop eventually gets him on the ground. He then still resists, trying to stay back up, and still falls onto the ground. Got it? Then the cops say, "Put your hand behind your back." Guess what he doesn't do? Put his hand behind his back. And then, guess what? He struggles away from it. So, I'm going to say this is going to be manslaughter for me. So, yeah. Not murder, manslaughter. Or third-degree murder, known in most other states. So, I'm not saying manslaughter on the cop. Yes, he did a bad thing. But, it's not exactly the cop forcefully choked him to death. I mean, he did do that, but also resisting arrest, assault of a police officer. So yeah. And multiple counts of resisting arrest to the point where they literally had to jump on his back and force him to the ground. That's yeah. So take that as you will. Next up, John Crawford III. John Crawford was holding up a BB gun. So, you tell me what a BB looks like. A real gun. So, yeah. So, justified, not justified, justified. So, everything except, Everything except, Eric Garner, justified. Right? Got it. Okay. So far, at least. Next one on the list, Ezell Ford. So Ezell Ford was mentally challenged, meaning, well, meaning what exactly? Meaning uh, just take that as you will. He's mentally challenged, but that does not mean he's less of a threat. Just because a mentally challenged man is going to go shoot you, doesn't mean it's less of a threat as a non-mentally challenged man. So, Ford's criminal record. He stole a car. What's wrong with that? It's illegal. Okay, so on to the actual crime thing. Uh, he didn't respond to officers' command. Now, according to the officers, they can't know that someone's immensely challenged, and uh, and they gave a command. Uh, uh, and well, guess what? He tried to grab an officer's weapon. Unfortunately, justified. Next one is Walter Scott. So, so Scott was reaching out, and well, the cop claims he was reaching for his taser, and from the video I show, it looks like he's actually doing that. Or I've been shown he looks like he's doing that, but the cop has his arm. Got it? So, well, let's see what happens. So after that happens, something falls on the ground, and he runs away, and 8 shots are fired, killing him. So after that, he says, shots fired, shots fired. He grabbed my taser. So after that, he grabs the unidentified object, and it kind of looks like a gun, but he shot it. But he shot his gun. Yeah, it kind of looks like a taser. He then drops the taser by. So, normally I'd say it's justified because he reached for his taser, and then, the taser was gone when he looked back, but then he dropped it. Right next to the corpse. Ah, what a shame. Like, seriously, cop. Yeah, let's just take this justified shooting and let's go frame a guy. Like, seriously, you had on video evidence, and you knew someone was recording you because you turned right towards the camera. Some unidentified object, which you can claim was the taser if they look at the video, they see a gun-shaped object, but he fired his gun, so one can only assume it was the taser, and then you drop it right next to the body. So this shooting, not justified. Actually, the shooting's justified, but the cop should go to jail for, well, for trying to frame him. Next on the list, Terrence Franklin. So Terrence Franklin, the state settled, meaning they just said, yeah, we don't want to deal with it. Here's some money. Terrence Franklin was a burglary suspect who grabbed an officer's gun. Who grabbed an officer's gun, wounded 2 police officers before police killed him. Yeah, oh, and also both police were wounded with gunshot wounds. Yeah, guilty. Sorry, justified. So, yeah. Next on the next on the list, Ariana McCree. Okay, what did Ariana McCree do? So, McCree, McCree wielded a gun at the police officers, says the police officers, and someone says that they definitely saw that happen, while others say, actually, no, it wasn't. And the video did not really provide any conclusive evidence. It was grainy and poor quality. So, not enough evidence to actually decide. But the video does show a silver shiny object. But it's hard to tell if it was actually being aimed at the officers or not, or if he actually had it in his hand. Just know that he did have a shiny silver object that he may or may not have been holding, and also may or may not have been um, uh, um, facing it towards the officers. So, not enough evidence. So, Dante Parker died from a taser, and also so Dante Parker died from a taser. Why? He had a special he had a special condition that, well, basically, if stimulated, he would die from high blood pressure, and well, electricity stimulated. So it was not justified, but the police had nothing to do with it unless he was unlawfully tased. Okay, remember
But
the entire
let's
Dante
see about that.
situation? Yeah, I think it's Dante. Guess what he was drugged up on? PCP. And was ruled justified. Again, bad example. Next on my favorite list is uh Tahisha Anderson. I suck with names, so just go Google it for yourself. It is spelled TAN I ISH ISHA. So TANISHA. Then it's just Anderson after that. So yeah. So whatever her name is, I can't speak it. Was schizophrenic and bipolar. She was handcuffed and arrested face down into an icy sidewalk. Who was then called the ambulance 14 minutes later. The article I'm reading never says what she died from. So what did she die from? Good question. So according to well, the police, she had a heart attack. To be more specific, they described it as a cardiac event. So, yeah. I mean, if it was a cardiac event, what cardiac event was it? And what's the cause of it? So, not enough information. Next is Tony Robertson, but when I search up, well, when I search him up, I first find it. Then I search up I first find some basketball player. Then I actually search up death, and I find a ton of articles. Yeah. So I then go, well, I wonder what could be this. So Tony Robertson was on parole for child sex offenses. Now, what do you think he did? And he then abducted and killed someone. That was the cause of the sex offenses. At least I think so. You're like, how can you not be sure? Because of what I can tell, it's British. And the British don't share their crimes. So I can't pinpoint it. So, yeah. Not exactly a character. So this guy's a murderer and probably a rapist. And beyond that, I can't find any more information. I don't even know what happened. So, not enough evidence. Next on the chopping block, Eric Harris. So, what did he do? Well, that's a good question. Oh, have you ever heard of the Columbine High School massacre? It was on April 20th, 1999. You know who it was carried out by? Dylan Klebold and Eric Harris. Okay, he killed 13 people, wounded 20 others, and committed suicide. Yeah. Oh, he was also a psychopath. So, that wasn't really the police's fault. So, Jermaine Reed had to solve his personal issues with a machete. He had a warrant for his arrest, and well, he weighs close to 200 pounds. Him and his girlfriend broke up, and he became irate. Chased her out of her home with a machete in hand. And the police say Jermaine Reed, concerned with the woman, launched a vigorous attack. The mother of his child was in cut time and time again. She remains in critical condition. So, not exactly a star. Or at least she was in critical condition when the article was wrote. Next on our possible murder list, Jacob Blake. So, Jacob Blake had a warrant out warrant out for his arrest. Why, you might ask? So, what did Jacob Blake do? He got in his car with police officers in front of it. No, that's not a joke. He was resisting arrest. The cops pulled his gun. He got into his car, got shot. Justified. A car is a 2-ton bullet, if you didn't know. Oh, and also, the cops were forbidden from going to the home where he was. Police were dispatched, and the officers were aware he had a felony for sexual assault. Oh no. That sucks. He's a felon who was restricted from going a house, who got into a car with police officers in front of it. So unfortunate. Next, Akai Gurley. I do not know how to pronunciate the name. Got it? Okay. Akai Gurley. So, yeah. Okay. Akai Gurley was a 28-year-old man who was fatally shot on November 28th, 2014 in Brooklyn, New York. Yes. He had convictions of manslaughter and misconduct. In other words, he accidentally murdered someone. Yeah. He got 5 years of probation. But why did that happen? Oh shoot, I got that wrong. Akai Gurley didn't have it. The police officer did. Yeah, the police officer was charged with that. And will be getting off of probation. Oh, he got off of probation last year. So, yeah. That one was not justified. Next is Rob Burley. So, I can't pronounce your name. Was an unarmed 25 African American man who was pursued and fatally shot while jogging in near Glenn County, Georgia. Well, you might be saying, well, that seems weird. I mean, what happened? Um, he was chased by armed white residents of South Georgia. Yeah, he wasn't killed by the police, so not justified, but you can't say this. You can't list this as evidence to abolish the police. Next on whatever list this is, um, uh, Stephen DeMarco Taylor. So, what did Stephen DeMarco Taylor do? Okay, so a person was wielding a baseball bat. But he was only charged with manslaughter. So, let's see what the police call was. Ooh, guy shoplifted and threatened us with a baseball bat. Oh, sucks. So, the police officer repeatedly tells the guy to put down the bat. He doesn't. Instead, he waves it around. That is a threat, by the way. So he then fires a taser after, and surprise, surprise, he doesn't go down. Tasers don't really work in some situations, just saying. And then he starts approaching the officer, who has his gun drawn. He approaches him, gets shot. Justified. He approaches him with a bat and then gets shot. He has tried non-lethal, doesn't work. Tells him to stop, doesn't work. He starts approaching him, shoots him. How many of you would do that? If this video doesn't get 0 views, okay. Sean Reed. Oh, Sean Reed. Oh god. If this video gets 3 views, I will do... Actually, if this video gets 1 like, I will do an entire video on Sean Reed. In other words, here, let's summarize it. He had a very unique looking gun with a honeycomb, a yellow honeycomb part of it. And on his Facebook page, you can see him shooting into houses and buildings, showing he has a gun with an extended magazine, and he really doesn't care. So, yeah. Oh, and he also said, "I'm not going back." So, yeah, he had a gun. He died. It was suicide by cop. He then says, "I'm going to park this MFer and get the F out." Evading police. So after that, here, let's just go do a short, in-depth breakdown. So he puts his phone in his pocket where he's live streaming it and starts running from the police. Definitely evading police. And then he pulls it out of his pocket, exposing his waistband, which we then see something tucked into his waistband with, a very intricate design, and it just so happens to be exactly his gun, which they found on his body. Which, let me tell you, he was posing with and firing into buildings. Then he pulls out a gun, actually flashes it in front of the camera, accidentally, but he has a gun. That's not a joke. So, tell me what you think. Then he says, "Stop now," and he gets tased and goes, And, let's just then say he does something very stupid. He then says, shit, shit, whatever. This video's already gotten demonetized or to hell, and fires shots. Not hitting the police officer, and he fatally dies. Tell me how this is not justified. And unfortunately, the officer who shot him is under investigation. While we are withholding judgment on the actions of the officers involved at the time, the officer who has been placed under administrative leave pending further investigation. Yeah. Shooting was justified though. So, next. Next is Miles Hall. Now, what did Miles Hall do? So, what's his name? Miles Hall approaches two people with a giant metal pipe. So then, two police officers call his name, immediately turns around and sprints at them. With a metal pipe, by the way. Then the video shows 6 beanbag rounds deployed before they get too close, and the other two officers, or actually, yeah, oh shoot, there was 3, I couldn't see one, and one was off camera. There was 3 officers, one fires 6 beanbag rounds, the other 2 open fire when he gets close. Or I mean too close. Justified. And then body cam footage is released. The officers say stop. 2 beanbag rounds are fired. Stop again. 3 more are fired. Stop one more time. The 6th one's fired. Then he gets too close to the officer. I count 5 shots that hit. He drops to the ground, and you can know this because, well, there's a sound of a metal pole. Okay, next person. Next person is Rumain Briston. So, what did he do? The police say that the police officer who shot Rumain was investigating a drug deal. That's when Brisbane fled from his SUV. So then, believing the cop had a gun, he shot after a struggle. So, not exactly your ace, and I would say, justified. Next. So, yeah. The next person is Michael White. So, they find Michael White not guilty in the involuntary manslaughter of the stabbing of a real estate worker. Now, the family of the person who was stabbed has their sights on the DA. Why the DA? But this one doesn't involve police, so I can't say if it's justified or not. Freddie Gary. He fell into a coma. He actually fell into a coma because he was in the back of a police car. So I can't comment on this. Anton Rose II. So, Antoine was, he engaged in a drive-by shooting. Yeah, justified. Stefan Clark. Stefan Clark was unarmed, but he held his phone in his hand like a gun. And both officers report seeing a flash, assuming it's a muzzle flare. One fired 1 shot, both backing out. Then, both of them thinking, or one of them thinking that the shot had come from the other person, opened fired. So yeah, justified, because he was holding his phone in his hand like a gun in the dark. Next person, Jacob Blake. We should already cover Jacob Blake, and that's all of them, disproven except for 2 or 3, I think. So yeah, also Jacob Blake had a warrant for his arrest for domestic abuse and went to his car to get a gun. So, meh. Okay, if you remember before this entire segment, I was talking about an actual Vox video. But, say their names? Well, I just did, and disproved almost all their stories, and most of them, deserved to be shot. Okay, deserved is did something that resulted in getting shot. Then she says, "You will earn my respect when I don't have to fear for my life? Well, I mean, if you remember statistically, it's less than a 1% chance that you will actually get shot by the police unarmed. So, yeah. You tell me if you're statistically probably going to get shot. Then she ends the video with Black Lives Matter. So brave, so stunning. Yes, Black Lives do matter. The organization Black Lives Matter, though, I'm fine with it getting the boot. Why? Because it actively, calls for the destructions of things that are needed to protect us, and then a lot of them don't like guns, so you can't say, oh, police, they're bad. Guns, they're bad. Protect yourself, that's good. Do by what? Figure that out for yourself. Oh, and also, I'll let you know when I'm losing sleep because some freaking 11-year-old doesn't like me. For as long as it lasts, I will never care. And also, it's never a good idea to fight the cops on the scene, especially try to get away. If you want to do that, wait till the entire incident's over, then sue the entire station for a crap ton of money. End of video, bye.